Hello everyone. Welcome to the Sinister Shadows channel, where we delve into the most astonishing stories and incredible facts from around the world. Whether it's breaking news or hidden truths, we've got it all. So sit back, hit that subscribe button, and let's get started. On June 25, 2009, the world was rocked by a shocking announcement. Michael Jackson, the legendary king of pop, had been found dead in his Los Angeles home. This came just weeks before his highly anticipated comeback tour. This is it. Millions of fans across the globe were stunned by the unexpected tragedy. While his death initially seemed natural, soon, shocking details emerged that raised many questions. What really caused Michael Jackson's death, and what role did his personal doctor, Conrad Murray, play in it? The death of the King of Pop. How did Michael Jackson really die? On June 25, 2009, the most famous musician in history was found dead in his Los Angeles home. The death of Michael Jackson, at the age of 50, was a tremendous shock to fans worldwide. The singer, who was preparing for a comeback tour called This Is It, was set to begin his performances in London in just 1 month. His death received so much media coverage that some prominent figures complained it was diverting attention from other pressing global issues. What happened on June 25, 2009? On June 25, Michael Jackson's personal physician, Conrad Murray, found him unconscious just 2 minutes after administering medication intended to help him sleep. He reported that the singer had already stopped breathing, and his pulse was weak. Around 10:42 a.m., Murray began performing CPR while security personnel called 911. He continued his attempts to revive Jackson for about 10 minutes. Paramedics then spent an additional 42 minutes providing medical assistance at Jackson's home. Afterward, at approximately 1:14 p.m., Jackson was transported to the hospital, where medical staff continued resuscitation efforts for over an hour. Despite their efforts, Jackson was pronounced dead at the Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center at 2:26 p.m. Michael Jackson's health. Conflicting reports surfaced about the singer's health leading up to his death. Several biographers claimed that in the last months of his life, Jackson was in poor health, suffering from insomnia, lupus, vitiligo, and low body weight. They also mentioned that his family was concerned about his health and urged him to seek medical help. One biographer noted that Jackson had previously struggled with an addiction to prescription painkillers, which was confirmed by his dermatologist. However, a medical professional who saw the singer just days before his death stated that Jackson appeared mentally and physically strong at that time. Members of his stage crew, who saw him the day before his death during rehearsal, said that he looked healthy and full of energy. Rehearsals lasted until midnight, after which Jackson spent some time with fans outside his home. It wasn't until late that night that he began complaining of insomnia. Early on the morning of June 25, Jackson turned to Dr. Murray, who gave him a cocktail of medications to help him sleep. When numerous injections failed to put Jackson to sleep, it was reported that he repeatedly asked to be given propofol. He had previously used this drug as a sleep aid. By 10:40 a.m., he still hadn't fallen asleep, so Dr. Murray administered a dose of propofol diluted with lidocaine. Autopsy. The autopsy of Jackson revealed several alarming signs for investigators. It was found that he had been administered anti-anxiety benzodiazepines, including midazolam and lorazepam, as well as propofol. This combination, along with doses of diazepam and Ativan, proved fatal. Additionally, Dr. Murray had given the singer multiple injections of drugs to help him sleep through the night. Apart from this, Jackson was otherwise completely healthy. His heart was strong, and the only serious condition was unrelated chronic lung inflammation. He had a normal weight, his lungs were healthy, and his arteries were clear of plaque, except for a small buildup in one leg. On August 28, the Los Angeles County Department of Medical Examiner coroner ruled that Jackson's death was a homicide. He died as a result of combined drug intoxication, primarily from propofol and lorazepam. Diazepam, midazolam, ephedrine, and lidocaine also contributed. The full toxicology report remains undisclosed. The trial. Dr. Murray faced trial on September 27, 2011. After just 24 days, he was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter. The sentence was handed down 5 days after the verdict. He was taken into custody without bail. Several factors concerned the jury when delivering the verdict. Dr. Murray testified that after discovering Jackson, he performed CPR. However, other medical experts questioned his technique when it was revealed that he attempted to resuscitate Jackson on a mattress instead of a hard surface. Additionally, the doctor chose to perform chest compressions with one hand, while the other was placed under Jackson's back. This contradicted the standard two-hand CPR technique, something he should have known as a medical professional, although using one hand for CPR is acceptable for children and infants. One of the contentious points was the fact that Dr. Murray failed to call 911. He claimed he didn't make the call because there was no landline phone in the house, and he didn't know the exact address. However, it later emerged that he made several calls on his cell phone during that hour, a fact he withheld from investigators. Furthermore, he stopped CPR after just 10 minutes, but the security guard only contacted 911 at 12:21 p.m. By the time paramedics arrived, Jackson had no pulse. Dr. Murray contended that the musician still had a pulse when the EMTs arrived. However, the paramedics disputed this, stating that Jackson was in full cardiac arrest and his condition remained unchanged during transportation. Consequences of the trial. Dr. Conrad was convicted of involuntary manslaughter in November 2011. He was held separately from the general prison population and was described by the sheriff's office as a model inmate. He was sentenced to 4 years in prison but was released in less than 2 years due to good behavior. Overcrowding in the prison system also played a role in his early release. Joe Jackson, Michael's father, filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Dr. Murray a year earlier, but he withdrew it in 2012. Later, Catherine Jackson unsuccessfully sued AG Live, Dr. Murray and Michael Jackson's former employer, for wrongful death. Dr. Murray declined to participate in these proceedings. His medical licenses remained suspended and revoked in the 3 states where he had previously practiced medicine. Funeral. Before Michael Jackson's burial, his family broadcast a memorial service on television. At least 2.5 billion people worldwide tuned in to watch the live stream of the memorial service in Los Angeles, making it one of the most viewed events in television history. The service took place at Forest Lawn Memorial Park, and 17,500 tickets were allocated through an online lottery among more than 1.2 million applicants. Many celebrities attended his funeral, including Stevie Wonder, Lionel Richie, Mariah Carey, and Jermaine Jackson. These 4 performed several of Jackson's hits. Each of the King of Pop's brothers also wore one white, sparkling glove in his honor. During the service, Jackson's daughter, Paris, who was just 11 years old at the time, became emotional while addressing the gathered crowd. Marlon Jackson remarked, "Maybe now, Michael, they will leave you alone." Jackson was buried in a massive bronze casket, which reportedly cost $25,000. The funeral expenses totaled around $1 million, with more than half of that amount spent on the singer's crypt. The legendary performer was laid to rest in the Holly Terrace section of the Great Mausoleum at Forest Lawn Memorial Park, located in Glendale, California. His crypt is still guarded by private security and is inaccessible except for special occasions. Was Michael Jackson's death considered murder? According to the autopsy report, yes, Michael Jackson's death is considered a homicide, and Dr. Conrad Murray, Jackson's personal physician, has been charged with involuntary manslaughter. Here's how this determination is reached. First, the coroner's findings indicated that there was no medical necessity for administering propofol to Jackson. It was established that propofol was not self-administered by Jackson but rather administered by someone else, which rules out suicide. Additionally, the method of administering propofol was questionable. The doctor who administered the drug to Jackson did not follow proper protocols. Dr. Murray was treating Jackson at home rather than in a hospital setting. There was no equipment available to monitor Jackson while he was under the influence of the drug, no resuscitation equipment in case problems arose during sedation, and no means to ensure the correct dosage was administered. What factors contributed to Jackson's death? During the autopsy, doctors found that Michael Jackson had reduced lung function due to chronic pneumonia and a condition known as respiratory bronchiolitis, a lung disease commonly seen in smokers. Why is this significant to his death, even though it was not the direct cause? Propofol is an anesthetic and sedative, and these qualities can impact our lungs and heart. Its sedative properties can reduce lung function. The benzodiazepines found in his system at the time of death also have sedative effects. Although the autopsy report clearly states that the decline in Jackson's lung function was not the cause of his death, the sedative medications would have placed him at greater risk for complications related to breathing and heart function. What drugs were in Michael Jackson's system at the time of his death? During the autopsy, several medications were found in Jackson's system, including a list of sedatives and other prescription drugs. His blood tested positive for propofol, lorazepam, midazolam, lidocaine, diazepam, and nordiazepam. Propofol, midazolam, lidocaine, and ephedrine were detected in his urine. Propofol and lidocaine were found in his liver. Propofol was identified in the vitreous humor, a part of the eye. Both propofol and lidocaine were present in his stomach. Let's first take a closer look at propofol. Propofol is a powerful sedative used by anesthesiologists for patients undergoing surgery in a hospital setting. It is known for its ability to induce deep and rapid sleep, typically within about 40 seconds, during procedures. However, it is an unpredictable drug that is currently approved by the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, only for administration by trained anesthesia professionals. Jackson did not have a prescription for propofol, and vials were found at the scene without any patient or physician names, as well as lacking dosage instructions. Among the other medications discovered in Jackson's system were benzodiazepines, lorazepam, midazolam, diazepam, commonly known as Valium, and nordiazepam. Physicians typically prescribe these drugs to treat anxiety, induce sleep, or provide sedation. Lidocaine is a local anesthetic. In addition to the medications found in Jackson's body, the following drugs were also discovered at the site of his death: trazodone, an antidepressant; temazepam, a sleep aid; clonazepam, used to treat panic attacks and seizures; hydroquinone, used to treat vitiligo by reducing melanin in the skin; Benicin, used to treat vitiligo by lightening the skin; flumazenil, used to reverse the effects of benzodiazepine overdose; Xanaflex, tizanidine, a muscle relaxant; prednisone, a corticosteroid; Flomax, used to treat symptoms of an enlarged prostate; amoxicillin, an antibiotic; azithromycin, an antibiotic; ephedrine, a stimulant; caffeine, and Bayer aspirin. Why did the coroner's office conduct 2 autopsies? The coroner conducts an autopsy to determine why and how a person died. Autopsies are not performed in every case. They are typically conducted when a previously healthy individual dies unexpectedly, and family members may also request one. Michael Jackson's body underwent 2 autopsies. The first was to ascertain the cause of heart failure in an otherwise healthy Jackson, while the second was requested by his family. Let's take a look at the timeline of events. Jackson was pronounced dead on June 25, 2009. The first autopsy was performed on June 26, 2009, at the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office. However, a full report would not be ready for several weeks, as it awaited the results of pathological, forensic, and toxicological examinations. The initial coroner's report stated that there was nothing suspicious about his death. Due to uncertainty surrounding the cause of death and suspicions of foul play, the Jackson family commissioned a private autopsy. The family received the second autopsy report on June 27, 2009. It was similar to the initial report from the coroner's office. The coroner's office released its report on August 19, 2009, concluding that Jackson died from acute propofol intoxication, an overdose of the anesthetic propofol, combined with other sedative medications in his system. How much did Michael Jackson change his appearance? Rumors about Michael Jackson's plastic surgeries have been persistent. The exact number of procedures he underwent remains unknown, but it is confirmed that he had at least 2 nose jobs, which he himself admitted to. The doctors who treated him have stated that Jackson also had cheek implants, eyelid surgery, and a cleft added to his chin. According to the autopsy report, Michael Jackson also had tattoos. These tattoos were forms of permanent makeup rather than tributes to his mother or military service. Jackson had dark tattoos that accentuated his eyebrows, lips, and hairline, along the front half of his scalp, as well as permanent eyeliner. His hair was also enhanced. Jackson's natural hair was thin, short, and curly. The Michael Jackson we saw in his later years had long, straight locks. However, it turned out that his thinning hair was supplemented with a wig. About the video on TikTok. Yes, snippets from what is purportedly a new interview with Michael Jackson are gaining popularity on TikTok, claiming to prove that the artist is alive. One such video has amassed 3.3 million views, along with hundreds of thousands of likes and comments. In the clip, the singer appears on television in The One Show with Paul Burke, dressed in a white suit. In the video, after 15 years of silence, the artist provides commentary in a live broadcast, but he looks rather uncertain and even frightened. In the comments section, numerous fans expressed their admiration and slight embarrassment regarding Michael Jackson's supposed return. However, the reality is much more mundane. The interview is part of an artistic project by Iraqi-Finnish artist Adel Abidine, created in 2015 for the exhibition Michael Jackson, on the Wall, which ran at EMA from August 2019 to January 2020. In the video, the resurrected Michael Jackson gives an interview while supposedly being observed live by the entire world. Additionally, among Michael Jackson's fans, there is a theory that the singer appeared on Larry King's show disguised as his friend, artist Dave. Interestingly, this happened on the day of Jackson's funeral. Video investigations about this are also currently gaining traction on TikTok. During the show, the artist spoke about how generous and kind Michael had been to him. Listeners were astonished by the similarity between the artist's voice and that of the performer. Thoughts that the person interviewed was not the real David Charles Rothenberg are also prompted by his appearance. The fact is that Dave has blue eyes, while in the video, they appear brown. He also has distinct scars on his face and broader shoulders. Michael Jackson and Dave first met in December 1983. At the age of 7, David Charles Rothenberg was introduced to the pop icon, which laid the foundation for a deep and lasting friendship. Over the years, Michael Jackson played a key role in supporting Dave, who was burned by his father during childhood. The last bodyguard of the artist. The last bodyguard of singer Michael Jackson, who passed away in 2009, was Bill Whitfield. Now, this man has decided to reveal some unknown facts about the artist. In an interview with The Sun, the bodyguard spoke about why Jackson might have died. He would never harm a child. It is known that Whitfield became Jackson's bodyguard in 2006, after the scandalous allegations of pedophilia against the singer. When Whitfield took the job, he wasn't sure if Michael was truly innocent. However, his doubts soon faded away. He was very sad. Everything was different. He had just gone through several trials. Like everyone else, I had heard all those stories before I started working for him, so it would have been completely normal for me to have doubts about the situation, the bodyguard admitted. I kept a close eye on him and his surroundings, on how he interacted with his children and others. I never wanted to believe those things, but I was definitely on alert, paying extra attention because I didn't know him until I started working for him. He noted. Gradually, Bill realized that the singer was not at all like many people portrayed him. He witnessed Jackson's vulnerability and shared many challenging moments with him. I just regret that he didn't live long enough to tell his side of the story and give people a chance to understand better who he was. He would never harm a child. This was not the person I knew, Whitfield stated. One time he said he would rather cut his own wrists than harm a child. So I know that these accusations were deeply hurtful to him. I can say that it changed him. He added. The bodyguard remembers Michael as a good friend. However, he points out that the singer was primarily his boss, and Jackson often made him anxious. He trusted me with the most precious thing he had, his children. Although I considered him my friend, he was still my boss. And he could be nerve-wracking. I'm sure anyone who has had a boss or supervisor has felt angry at some point. Bill recalled. Jackson had his quirks. Sometimes he could get upset over trivial matters. The singer also loved long drives, which the bodyguard believes might have been his way of coping with stress. He liked to take long drives at 3 or 4 in the morning. And we would just go, whether it was up and down the Las Vegas Strip or somewhere else in the countryside. He just wanted to drive and look at the world around him, without any rush. I know he was dealing with something or going through something, and he took those long drives to sort out his thoughts. The last bodyguard of the artist remarked. Michael Jackson's legacy. Michael Jackson's legacy remains alive even after his death. His music continues to inspire new generations, and his influence on global culture is hard to overstate. However, following the trial against Dr. Murray and numerous investigations, many questions surrounding Jackson's death remain unanswered. Could his death have been prevented? Was he a victim of medical errors? Regardless, for millions of his fans, Michael Jackson will forever remain a symbol of pop music and a person whose artistry changed the course of music history. Thank you for watching, friends. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it, share it, and leave a comment below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to do so and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next crazy story. We'll see you in the next video. Stay curious and entertained.